Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with a preview and prediction for this Week 3 game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Los Angeles Chargers. Both teams 2-0, Pittsburgh's home opener. Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Would really appreciate that. So let's talk about these two teams, 2-0. They're really mirror images of each other in terms of how they've gotten to 2-0 and their philosophy and just kind of their overall style of play. Starting with the Chargers offense, recording this on Friday night. I assume that Justin Herbert will play and start. We don't know that for sure. He is officially listed as questionable with a high ankle sprain. If he does play, he'll be limited, and you wonder how, different the offense will look schematically. Could it look kind of Atlanta Falcons in week 1, where it's less under center, more pistol, and it's kind of a real sitting duck at quarterback? Herbert's a pretty mobile guy when he's healthy, but the injury, and I assume whatever kind of a tape job or whatever they use to help him deal with that may restrict some of that movement. Obviously, if Herbert can't go, this game will still, the complexion of it will change pretty significantly. So when you look at this Chargers team, they're still built around the run like Pittsburgh. It is really, some will say Michigan transplant because of Harbaugh, but it's really Baltimore transplant because you have the same running backs, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, the same offensive coordinator who was formerly in Baltimore a couple years back, in Greg Roman, and that is a style of play. It's a varied run game. You're going to get power. You're going to get inside zone out of single back, out of two back. You're going to get, kind of every concept out there. A little less so with the quarterback situation, given Herbert's injury, and that Herbert obviously is not as mobile as Lamar Jackson was, but it's a varied run game that really wants to, bring the physicality. They run to the close side of the field probably as much as any team in football. I know the hashes are more narrow in the NFL. It's less of a impact than it is in college, but still, they really want to just kind of run it right at you in close spaces and believe they can be the more physical team. Pittsburgh has had, not that they've seen him a lot because of health issues, but Pittsburgh has had a ton of trouble with J.K. Dobbins. He averages almost 7 yards per carry in the 2 games he's played against them back in his Baltimore days, and he's running as hot as any running back in football right now, averaging almost literally 10 yards per carry the first 2 games. Just crazy numbers, even though the sample size is small. You couple that with Gus Edwards, who's more of their hammer. It's a really good duo overall. It's a solid offensive line with 3 first-round picks in Rashawn Slater at left tackle, Joe Alt at right tackle, and don't forget about Zion Johnson at left guard, their first-round pick in 2022. So that's their personality, is a bunch of tight ends, heavy with running the football. When they do pass, they like to have spacing concepts and spread the field out horizontally. Watch out for play pass on first down, 1st and 10, especially first play of the drive. They're going to come out with big people, try to go play action, catch you sleeping there sometimes. The one guy I'm kind of really worried about in this one is Ladd McConkey, the rookie from Georgia, one of my favorite draft prospects this year. Not that he's going to be the guy that goes for $120, I don't think, knock on wood, but he's the guy that's going to get you 5 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown and just be a thorn in Pittsburgh's side. How well can somebody like Beanie Bishop potentially cover McConkey, who's really quick, really good at the top of his route, can separate, and is good after the catch. And so that's a guy that you have to worry about. The Pittsburgh has not really faced probably that type of guy so far. They faced some bigger people in Cortland Sutton, in Drake London. I mean, they've had some smaller, faster guys too, but nobody really exactly like McConkey's skill set so far this season. So you just, I think they call a really good game in LA. It's been an effective offense, not an extremely potent one, but they've had the lead. They sat on it, and they've been able to run the ball. Defensively, the Chargers are right up there, top of the league. They lead the NFL in points allowed. They're right up there in yards allowed, rush yards allowed. Have not allowed a rushing touchdown this year. Of course, they faced the Raiders and the Panthers, and man, watching that Panthers tape was a chore. So it's really hard to kind of gauge exactly where the Chargers are at. They're built like Pittsburgh too. They're a 3-4 team. They play more sub than probably Pittsburgh does, even against 12 personnel. Sometimes they'll stay in sub packages with a corner or a 3 safety look and bring down strong safety Derwin James, who's one of the best in football and really big physical guy. I think in this one, if I'm Pittsburgh, I might go a little counter to what the Chargers are expecting. I think if they because the Chargers probably know that they're going to be in base more in this one because Pittsburgh wants to be heavy too. And I don't know if Pittsburgh can try to run into a wall the entire game. The run game has been effective overall, but I want to see a little more, splash from it, a little more than 3 yards in a cloud of dust. If I'm Pittsburgh, I might come out and play more 11 in this one, especially if Roman Wilson dresses for the first time. Not that he's going to get too much on his plate, but it'll be another weapon and asset to potentially contend with. I think if you kind of spread the Chargers out and you get into kind of some more of their base nickel packages, they're not as good against the run. They will one gap and try to shoot gaps a little more often. There's kind of a feast-famine aspect to them, so want to be careful for that. You may run, maybe less zone in this one. You're worried about guys kind of being able to shoot in the gaps. We'll see what the scheme is for Pittsburgh overall, but I may try to be a little more, spread the field, a little more horizontal in terms of putting people out wide and seeing how the Chargers respond and kind of go from there. I would use motion too. I always look at how teams defend motion. Is there kind of a big obvious response when opposing offenses motion? And the Chargers are pretty strong. When you motion, they're going to shift and respond in a fairly significant way. And that, every team will kind of respond to motion in some sense, but the Chargers probably more so than others. And I say that to say you can probably try to pull some guys out of their gap. I saw on tape, kind of get these guys out of position by using motion against them. So I might be more motion heavy in this one, a little more 11 personnel in this one, try to open up and create some run lanes that way. Pass game, it's a good secondary for LA. They're a zone-based team. I think you'll see Pittsburgh use the middle of the field more than they have the first 2 weeks. In week 1, you had a great safety duo in Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons. Week 2, Denver, Vance Joseph, a lot of man, a lot of cover 1, middle of the field closed, and so that really didn't lend itself to throwing over the middle. In week 3, the Chargers are more of a too high team. They're going to run more cover 6 and cover 2 and some more inverted coverages, and so I think that's going to be a more real estate that's attainable. I'd look for Pat Freiermuth to make an impact. I think he's somebody that could have his best game of the season. Granted, he's not had 2 great games to start, statistically speaking, but I think you're going to see more downfield action for him and hopefully get maybe another receiver involved. They need someone else to step up here besides George Pickens. Although Pickens will have, I think, an easier matchup, quote-unquote. He won't be facing a corner of the caliber of A.J. Terrell or Patrick Surtain II. Not that those guys have really slowed him down in giant ways, but I think he'll have an easier time this week. So I want to see probably this offense at its most versatile. It's a little less sideline and vertical outside the numbers oriented. It can kind of spread the ball around to all areas of the field, but still playing clean for Justin Fields will be important. And of course, dealing with that pass rush. I haven't talked about what those guys can do up front, and Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Pittsburgh's got some tackle uncertainty about Troy Fautanu. I'm guessing right here on Friday night that he's not going to play. And it's when you have a knee injury, getting an MRI on a Friday. Probably not going to be a great sign for playing on Sunday. Maybe Broderick Jones bounces back. I'm not giving up on Broderick Jones, but no matter who's in a tackle, when you're facing those guys, it's going to be a challenge. And they run some stunts in 3rd and long, and they're going to line 3 defensive linemen to one side, 1 to the other, and they're going to run stunts and games and twists, so Pittsburgh will have to communicate effectively. So overall, my prediction in this one for the first time all season, although we're only 3 games into my predictions, I'm going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I got the Chargers winning this one 20-14. So for those of you who like when I don't pick the Steelers, you're in luck that I'm not going to pick them here in this one. I think J.K. Dobbins scares me too much. Pittsburgh has not had success slowing him down. And I think the Chargers can put up enough points, more than what Pittsburgh has faced so far. And Pittsburgh's still trying to work out, getting a little more even. Offensively, they made progress. But I just think with that pass rush the Chargers have, how physical they are, how kind of they match up exactly how Pittsburgh tries to play, but might have just a little bit of an edge here overall. Now, if Herbert doesn't play, that's going to change things. And certainly if he does play, his limitations can be a factor in this one. So going to be close, going to be tight, as these games always kind of tend to be. But I got the Chargers winning by 6. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys listening. Let me know your score. You got Pittsburgh winning this one, or are you going with me on the Chargers? Again, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.